Hello everybody, my name is Chikirza, and welcome to another art journal video where I'm playing with craft paint from various dollar stores. I'm securing my flexible cutting board that I bought at the dollar store to my page with a strip of masking tape, like I normally do, and applying a coat of gesso with a plastic card. At this point, I have no plan as to what I want this page to look like at the end. I'm just going to play and see what ends up on my page. I picked out this light pink and light purple acrylic paint and decided I wanted to maybe try creating a nice blended background with them, using a square makeup sponge to smear the paint around. The consistency of this paint is not something I'm really used to. I can't really say that I'm used to any kind of paint. I just started doing art journaling myself this past summer. So summer of 2020. So most of what you see is experience from a beginner myself. Just playing with art supplies and seeing how they work. The pink went on all right, but the purple was kind of blotchy. But I was determined I was going to make this work. Maybe if I fold the sponge in a slightly different way, maybe it'll go on better. Adding some more paint. Let's give it a dry and see how that looks when it's dry. My pages are curling up a little bit at the edge. That's okay, you can just bend them back into shape. And I thought, well, maybe I'll use this palette knife and smear some paint on. No, you know what? I want to give that paint one more try with the makeup sponge. And it's looking all right. I'm getting some decent coverage and getting some texture looking effect, but it's not really what I want. This is supposed to be a background. How am I going to fix this? Decide to come in with some alcohol, spray it on my page, and see if it would do anything. That didn't really have much of an effect. I think, well, maybe I'll push that purple back because it's pretty much dominating my page right now. So I'll come in with the pink, water it down with some water from a water bottle, and just put a nice thin coat on top. Well, that definitely pushed the purple back. Now let's spray it with the alcohol. I think it's too fine of a mist, so I decided to spray it on my hand and drop bigger droplets onto the page. And see what that does. This is flammable, so at this point I really want to go in with my hairdryer and dry it. But I'm not sure that's such a good idea. So I decided to blot the extra alcohol off the page and see what that does. Okay. That's interesting. What happens if I do that with the purple on top of it? So again, I watered it down. And let's go in with a glaze. I'm starting to lose my pink in there. But since the alcohol seems to almost push the paint away from it, maybe I can get some of that pink back. Again, I don't want to go in with the hairdryer because this stuff is flammable and I don't want to take the chance. So I just blot up the extra with my paper towel. Now it's looking like a background. However, I want to add more to it. So I come in with my white and my black acrylic paint. Water them down a little bit And I want to go in with a splatter. So I use the end of my paintbrush just to mix the water in with the paint. And splatter some on the page. I do love paint splatter. However, it's been brought to my attention that I spend a lot of time cleaning up my area. You need to understand that where I am doing my art is actually at my computer desk. So about 4 inches from the top of the screen is where my monitors are. And when I do paint splatter, I ended up with paint all over my monitors. So I had to go and clean that up before it dried onto my monitors. Now I want to put something on the page. I knew I wanted to come in with that turquoise acrylic paint, but I was afraid that it wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to get the coverage that I wanted with it going onto an already colored background. So I decided to go in with the white. And the thought here was I'll just do a big mouth. Some sort of a big mouth on a monster of some sort. And I decided, well, let's put on the top of a head. And let's put on some legs. And now I want to add some fashionable boots of some sort. Still not sure what I'm really doing, who or what this is going to turn out to be. Just adding parts. Don't have to have a plan, just go with the flow. And now I go in with the turquoise acrylic paint. I was going to water it down, but I thought, no, with how the background paint worked, and this is the same brand, maybe I'll just try it full strength. Don't water it down at all. And it's not giving me very good coverage. But again, a lot of this could be user error as well. I'm still new to using these products. So I've got to use them a whole bunch just to learn how they work and how I can work with them. Coloring in the boots. Not sure what I'm going to do with the legs yet, but I don't think I want the legs to be the same color. Now, what am I going to do here? While I'm drying it, I'm like, where do I want the next parts? Yep, there I go. I've got this thing with touching paint. It's like, oh, it looks wet. Is it wet or is it dry? Well, I better touch it. Yep, and I always do that in every one of my videos. Will I ever learn? I don't know. But it's interesting watching it afterwards and going, why do you always touch it? And even though I know I shouldn't touch it, I touch it and end up with a spot of paint missing off of my page. Going in with a second coat of the turquoise acrylic paint again. Touching up some of those edges and just defining the shape of the boots. And using up, I only had a little bit of paint left on the plate, so just add a little bit more to the page, to the monster, to whatever this is going to turn out to be. And there I go, touching the page again. And again. And again. But I got lucky. This time it was dry, so I didn't end up with a splotch of paint missing. I ended up with a blob of white paint there, so rather than trying to fix it, I just blotted it off with the paper towel before it dried. Making the legs a little bit more opaque. Giving it a quick dry. Touching it again. Yep, and again. How do you know if it's dry if you don't actually touch it, right? And now I'm coming in with a third coat of the acrylic paint, and this time I watered it down just a bit. I wanted it to go on a little bit more smoothly, not quite so thick. And it's not perfect, but this is a monster of some sort, so it could be fur lines or texture in the skin or scales or who knows. I think I'll leave it at this point and see what it turns into to decide if I want to do anything else to it. And now I'm trying to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to put arms on it? Do I want it to have no arms? I decide, okay, well, I'm going to put an arm just off to the side, and then the other arm is going to be behind its back. That was the initial plan, and then I realized that the shoulders of the two arms didn't line up. So how am I going to fix this? It just looks weird. Well, let's make it look weirder. Let's put two arms coming out of one side and one arm that's behind its back on the other. Yep. When it looks weird, just go with the flow and make it even weirder. Again, this is my art, but it's your art. You can make anything you want. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be something that you are enjoying doing. Be silly. Be creative. Here I'm going in with another coat of the turquoise again, just giving it a little bit more opacity, touching up some of the edges. Now, what do I want to do with this? Inside my head, I'm thinking, wow, I have made such a mess of this. But I'm not giving up on this. I'll just make it look even quirkier. There we go, touching the paint again. Okay, time to go in with some eyes. And then I decide I'm not probably going to be able to get two eyes of the same size using just the paint and the brush. So I went in with a white colored pencil and just roughly sketched them out so I have some lines to follow. If you can free fall it or free paint it, go for it. I didn't have the confidence that I could do that. Decided that that other eye needed to be just a little bit bigger. That looks good, let's try it. And then I thought, why not put some sort of a white circle or an eyeball thing on the end of the other arm? If you're going weird, go all out. Doing a second coat of the white, giving it some more opacity. You can't really see it on the camera, but in person I could still see the line of where the outline of the head was through the back of the eye. So sometimes where you see me putting on another coat of paint, you might be like, why? It's fine. But the camera's not picking up some of the flaws, which in some cases I'm thankful for. So now I decide that I'm going to put in a mouth. Originally, the body was going to be the mouth, and then it ended up being something different, ended up being a body. Adding some white paint to what is going to be the lips, because again, I'm not sure that whatever color I decide to make for the lips is going to stand out, with it having the dark turquoise color as a background. And I want whatever color I'm going to use to be vibrant. And there I go, touching the paint again. Is it dry? Gotta check, gotta touch it. So as I'm drying it, I'm still not really sure what else I want to do to this page. There's definitely more to be done. I've got the whole top part that doesn't have anything but the background. I've got an arm that doesn't have anything. So I went over to my shelf and looked at some of the other colors of paints in my supplies and went, what should I do here? And then I found these. I went with the red acrylic paint and some Cupcake papers that I picked up at the dollar store. I picked out the Cupcake papers because I figured that the colors kind of worked with the background that I had anyways, but I still wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the Cupcake papers. So I started with the lips. Make some nice juicy red puckering lips. Mwah! Now it's time to figure out what to do with this cupcake paper. These aren't full-size cupcake papers. They're made for mini size. So I pull one out, open it up, flatten it out. I could put that up there. What do I want to do with this? Flatten it out a little bit more. I'm going to fold it in half and cut a heart out of it. That'll get rid of most of the outside of it that is all kind of bunched up and crinkly. But what am I going to do with the outside of it? Could I put it somewhere? Maybe. What if I flatten out those edges a little bit more? Maybe not. Maybe I'll use it in a different project. And then I thought, ooh, maybe I could use this as a balloon. Do I want to put a hand on this creature? So I'm getting an idea and I went, no, I don't really want to put a hand on it. I'll just leave it as a stubby arm. And it's holding onto a balloon. Yep, that'll work. Now I come in with my matte medium and adhere it to the page. This paper wants to lift and twist still because it's got the folds in it and the pre-bends from it being a cupcake holder. And I really want to make sure that it stays down on that page. So I add another coat of the matte medium on top as well. And then I wanted to come in with a black acrylic paint pen, but the matte medium was still a little bit tacky, and I definitely don't want glue on my acrylic paint pen tip. So I dried it really quickly, and now I'm coming in and outlining and adding the string for the balloon. Well, now that I've got that done, I've got to do the outlines on the eyes, make those stand out, add some eyeballs. Yep, I decided to turn that into an eyeball on the arm. Put some nice big long lashes on top and some short ones on the bottom. And I come in with a thinner acrylic paint pen because the other one was just too thick for some of the other parts of the monster. The outlines and the edge of the mouth and around the lips. I like using various line widths on my different drawings and paintings. I think it just adds a little bit more interest. So the legs are still really stark white. And I'm not so sure that I like that. I think that's missing something. So I decided to put some stripes on it. And color it in with black. But my black paint pen, for some reason, it's not working very well for me today. This little one. It might be running low, or it might have something on the end of it. I don't know. Rather than fight with it, I just went in with some black acrylic paint and using my pointed paintbrush again, just filling in those stripes. I've got to say, I do really, really like this black Deco Art craft acrylic paint. It's super matte. It goes on really nice. I just love it. And now I'm adding some black to the soles of the shoes, I guess it would be. What else do I want to do here? I'm going in with the red acrylic paint and using the end of my paintbrush as a dotting tool to add some red blobs onto the end of the eyelashes. Just wanted to tie in the red from the lips into the picture a little bit more. And I think that does the trick. I like it. I was debating outlining the blobs in black, but in the end I decided not to. I put a little bit of a reflection shine onto the balloon using the white acrylic paint. And give it a quick dry. Now my phone rang while I was recording, so I paused it and I forgot to unpause the recording when I added the white to the bottoms of the shoes. Then I outlined the reflection on the balloon and I'm deciding, do I want to do anything more to this? I could put something on her belly, maybe put a heart on her belly. Do I want to do that? I kind of like it the way it is, but I could also add more stuff. It's a fine line trying to decide when to stop. You can overdo it. And I decided I actually kind of liked it just the way it was. So that's it. I pull off the masking tape, having a little problem getting it off. And there we go. That's it. Thank you for watching.